Wherever I choose to send him. Dismissed. The commander returned to his paperwork. No. The word rang through the barren room. Dr. Madison gasped. The commander stilled and then slowly lifted his head. Excuse me? Matt's mouth dried up. He shifted his leg forward 3 centimeters in case he needed to go for the knife. I said no. Metal scraped when the commander pushed away from the desk and stood. Cadet Matthew, you are dismissed. It took every ounce of will Matt had to remain in place and not run from the man who stood at least a foot taller than he. For now. A sick sense of dread accompanied dots crossing his vision. I'm not leaving until you tell me what's going on with my brother. The commander's lip twisted. He narrowed his gaze, and silence wrapped around the room. Fine. Jory is too small and not strong enough to be a cadet here, so we're sending him to another camp. Bullshit! The word shocked Matt as it slipped out of his mouth, his teeth ground together. We both know what happens to cadets who don't make it here, don't we? The commander smiled in a way that rolled Matt's gut. You don't know anything, cadet. Yeah, but he had an idea. Kids who disappeared never showed up again. Maybe there was another camp, most likely not. Regardless, he couldn't protect his family if they weren't with him. They genetically came from the same father, had the same gray eyes and the same build. There was no question they were family, even though they had been created in test tubes and had never met their parents. You are not taking my brother. He enunciated each word, careful to coat over the southern accent that got them shoved in the brig. His legs tensed, and his shoulders drew back in a fighting stance that came naturally to him. For his brothers, he'd kill now if necessary. Good thing he'd brought the blade. Dr. Madison returned to her notebook, pursing her lips as she wrote. This is interesting, she mused. You have 2 other younger brothers to worry about, and considering Shane's last blade-fighting test, you'd better worry about him. The commander stalked around his desk. Nathan, on the other hand, is quite safe here. Nathan had fighting skills beyond anybody else at camp, but his obsession with perfection from himself and everyone around him was going to get him killed. Matt feared the day he exploded. You get all 4 of us, or you get none of us. His shoulders tensed and wanted to shake. Jory is only around 7 years old. He will grow, and he'll get stronger. I'll make sure of it. In the corner, Madison's heart rate picked up. Matt tuned in his enhanced hearing to check out the commander. His heart rate and breathing remained calm and normal. Nothing ever shook the soldier. The air shifted, and Matt knew the commander would move before he did so. In fact, Matt knew exactly where he'd go and how far he'd move. Someday Matt would take his special ability to perceive movement, one the commander remained unaware of, and kill the man, without question. The commander stepped closer and peered down. A gleam lightened his fathomless eyes. You have a deal. If one of you fails at training or on a mission, you all get transferred. Fear tasted like thick dust. In that moment, Matt learned the reality of making a deal with the devil. I understand. Turning on his heel, he exited the room, not waiting for permission to leave. He made it to the barracks he shared with his younger brothers before dashing into the latrine and puking out his guts. He finished on hands and knees, body heaving. A towel appeared on his shoulder. Wiping his mouth, he turned around and sat on the freezing concrete, his back to the stall door. Through the tears in his eyes, he studied Nate. Nate leaned against the doorframe. At about 10 years old, he was tall and skinny, but he had the same build as Matt and would probably soon fill out. He lifted his chin, gray eyes swirling with terror. Well? Jory can stay. Nate breathed out. Good. Okay. That's good. Matt shook his head.